All right, hello there, welcome back to another wee bit different video. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the Desmond trade, the Desmond Bane trade, I should say. Anyhow, I apologize for getting this video a bit later. For those of you that don't know, it is my first Father's Day this past Sunday. Also, none of you guys would know this, but it was my brother's graduation today. So I woke up super early, went to it, now I'm back. Anyway, back to the most important part of the video, the part that you guys tuned in for. Desmond Bane going to the Orlando Magic. A lot of conversation early on it's an overpay for the Magic. We're going to get into the details about it as well. But anyway, who is Desmond Bane if you're not familiar with him? Be a little bit surprising since you clicked on this video, but that's all right. 19.2 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists per game. He was the third best player on the Memphis Grizzlies. He's going to give you a steady dosage of, he's going to attack the rim. Oh, he's able to shoot the three ball. So he's honestly what the Magic needed just in terms of another asset to scoring. And again, he's someone who can spread the floor with his three-point shot. But what are the details? Now, most of you already know the details, but I'm going to break down what's important and why. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. However, I still believe it is an overpay. So looking at this again, Memphis Grizzlies are trading Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic in exchange for KCP, Cole Anthony, and several draft picks. So to clarify things here, KCP is not the player you remember from the Nuggets. He's not playing with Jokic. Just not as good as a three-point shooter. And it's not like he was shooting difficult three-point shots this past season. He just didn't have it. It didn't look like a contract that was going to be great moving forward. Now, who knows? Maybe he finds his rhythm with the Memphis Grizzlies. It happens with role players. They do have an off year. It is possible. However, taking age into consideration, taking the contract they just signed him to, he did not deliver expectations on the first year. So it's hard to anticipate moving forward he's going to be better. Cole Anthony is a tough one. You don't want to see him go, but it's not a backbreaker. What is, and you're going to see right now, is 4 first-round picks. You hear that, and in theory, you think that is a lot. However, only 2 of them are really worth what people are saying. So the number 16 selection this year, okay, fair enough. It's not a super high pick. It's actually not a lottery pick, but you never know. You can make something out of the 16th pick. So not the end of the world, but you got to give it up. 2026 first rounder from Phoenix. So people hear this as well and they think, wow, Phoenix is getting rid of Kevin Durant, so they're tanking. The problem is, even though Phoenix is rebuilding, they're not necessarily tanking because they don't own their pick. So it's not as simple as Phoenix is going to purposely suck and do what, other teams did, like the Nets and the Sixers, where you're just very obviously tanking. Phoenix in particular, they're going to have Devin Booker still. They're going to get whoever they get back from that Kevin Durant trade, and they're still going to push to be as competitive as they can be. I have to highlight the word can there because they're not going to be competitive, like these other playoff teams. However, they're going to try. So this pick, my guess, and this is just a guess, it'll be a lottery pick. It won't be a top 10 pick. Again, due to the fact that they're not purposely going to just be sucking. Unprotected first round picks in 2028 and 2030. So in 2028, which is 3 years from now? It's 2025. Yeah. The Orlando Magic should be competitive. You still have Franz, you still have Paulo, and presumably, not even presumably, unless something happens, you're still going to have Desmond Bane. 2030, again, with Paulo as the cornerstone of the franchise, these 2 picks in theory should not be anything other than a late first round pick. A big reason though of why we're saying late is because we look at the East, and maybe in 2028 it would be different. I shouldn't go that far ahead. But what does this mean now? Right, just in the now, which is why the Magic did this. Of course, they did it for now. They did it to compete now. Look at the East. Who are the teams that are outright dominating? The Cavs do not hold the East. They proved it. They can have the best record. They still lost in the second round. Not saying the Pacers aren't a good team. Pacers are worthy of being in the finals. However, the Cavs have proven they are not having a hold on the East. The Celtics, with Jason Tatum out for next year, they are not going to be the dominating force that they once were. The Knicks are not they're not holding down the East. They lost in the conference championship. They did beat the Celtics. Congratulations. But with them finding Tom Thibodeau, you just don't really know how it's going to go out. You think they're going to be competitive, and we all do. But you never know. Regardless, even at their best, they're not locking down the East. Pacers, they got to the finals. They're looking good. Still the 4 seed, though. Maybe Magic, get a higher seed, get home court advantage. You feel better about it as well. And then Bucks, Dame's out for the year. Not going to be competitive this year. Pistons, maybe they'll take a leap. They probably will. The question is how much. But for the most of it, the East is just wide open for the taking. There's not a team that is just scary per se. I'm not scared of any of these teams if I'm in the same conference as them, as opposed to the West where there's just insane teams everywhere. Thunder are just disgustingly scary because even if they lose the finals, right, they're still a team who's going to be able to dominate for seasons to come. Rockets are young, hungry. They're only going to get better. Lakers with Lucas is going to be a problem. Obviously LeBron. Nuggets with Jokic. Clippers are a question mark. Everyone's getting older. Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards. Warriors are a question mark, but you still have Jimmy Butler, Stephen Curry. They're probably going to be competitive. Grizzlies is a soft reset. Kings are a joke. Mavericks with Cooper Flag, AD, Kyrie, Clay. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Phoenix, no. Portland's only going to get better. Spurs are going to get significantly better. So these are the things that we have to talk about as the West is going to be scary as opposed to the East. There's not a team that I'm looking at like, man, I really think they're just going to hold down the East and just dominate. With the West, there may not be one specific team that does that. I mean, you should say Thunder. However, there's so many scary teams. It's very uncomfortable. But for the Magic, this is the opportunity. This is the time to do it. There's no one that, like I said, is overwhelmingly intimidating. Not one team. You feel like you have a shot against any of them. So while this is a steep price tag, and I do agree, it is a steep price tag. It is a bit of an overpay. I don't necessarily disagree with the decision. Sometimes you have to overpay to do the things that you want to do. What I mean by that is, let's say this is just an example in life. Let's say you have 10 minutes, right? And for the Orlando Magic, this next season is free reign in the East. Let's say you have 10 minutes and I need you to pick up some chips and snacks and whatnot. Are you going to go to a grocery store or are you going to go to a convenience store? You don't have enough time. So you're going to go to a convenience store. Are you overpaying for those chips? Yes. As opposed to going to a grocery store? Yes, you are. But sometimes you got to make it quick. It'll be better for you in the current state that you're in your current scenario you're in. And for the Magic, just next year alone, who is the team that is like, man, this is intimidating. The Magic can't beat them now. I'm not saying the Magic are the best team in the East, but you see what the Pacers are doing, and you just have to build around the whole roster as opposed to just having the best player in the NBA like a Jokic, right? You don't need the best player in the NBA. You need a complete squad. So the Magic, obviously, you think, but they're giving up KCP. KCP did not perform well last year. And lastly, got to mention this, they do have a pick swap in 2029, the Grizzlies over the Magic. So I think this is a good trade for both teams. To be honest with you, it gives the Magic an opportunity to say, let's make the most out of this unit that we have now. It is an overpay. I do agree. But they clearly believe in Paolo. Clearly. This is it for them. They're not going to get a better player than Paolo. And he does show a lot of promise. I mean, a lot of people don't really talk about him because he's on the Magic, and the Magic haven't been taking seriously. And let's just be honest. That's the truth. They haven't been. 25.9 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 4.8 assists per game. Franz Wagner, another really good player who doesn't get taken seriously. 24 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 4.7 assists. Big problem with the Orlando Magic is, and I'm going to show you guys this and you're going to be like, damn, that is really bad. It's the shooting. So can we go to, oh yeah, we can. It's going to be a bit, we're going to have to, go way back into the time machine here, but we're going to pull up the team stats of the Orlando Magic. You guys are going to see it, and you're going to be like, damn, they can't shoot for shit. So check this out real quick. And like I said, it's not going to be pretty. Team stats, please. Yes. Okay. Points per game, 28th in the league. Paolo and Franz were averaging combined almost half of their team points. Pace, 29th. Field goal percentage, 27th. 3-point field goal percentage. 3-point field goals worse than NBA, and 3-point field goal percentage worse than NBA. Guys, the proof is in the pudding. There's what more do I need to say than this shit? They were the worst offense in the NBA in regards to shooting. Worst points per game. 28th worst points per game. 29th, the second worst. So third worst points per game to make it easy. Second worst pace in offense. Third worst, fourth worst field goal percentage. The worst 3-point field goal percentage. The worst 3-point field goal percentage and 3-point field goals. The worst, both of them. They need shooters. Who's a shooter? Desmond Bane, who can also defend, who is also able to be a slasher and attack the rim and run the offense as a second ball handler if need be. I think it's a good trade for both teams in regards to what they are trying to do. I'm not saying this is one of those trades for the Magic in particular that it can backfire so badly, and there's no way of knowing unless you try. Now, if I'm in that front office, am I saying to green light it? Honestly, this is why I don't get paid the big bucks. I'd be too much of a pussy to make this kind of trade, but that's why I don't get paid the big bucks. So you can either look like a genius or you can look stupid. No in between. To be honest with you, there's hardly a gray area in this kind of situation. But let me know what you guys think. I feel like I know what most people think is that, overpay, which I would agree with, but I use the convenience store analogy. Hopefully you guys can understand that here. Greatly appreciate you guys for watching. If you would like, subscribe. This is All We've Been Different. All We've Been Different, and we out.